All right, y'all. I have done this video a bunch of times, but I'm just going to say it. Many of you know that I have been, since 2020, in the fight of my life. My family has been, we've been, for those of you who've been with us, in the fight of our lives since 2020. I filed a complaint against Lionsgate, Stars, Katori Hall, P-Valley for copyright infringement. December 8th, 2023, I learned that the District Court of California dismissed my case, citing that no reasonable juror would look at the 57 comparisons and see any similarities, and that the expert report basically wasn't necessary because there was nothing similar about Sokin's Cabaret and P-Valley. I was devastated, but I was very hopeful because I knew I had the opportunity to appeal. And we did. And the appeals process taught me the most about not just my case, but the law and whether or not it is possible for underfunded plaintiffs like myself to actually win against well-funded defendants and larger corporations. And I'm really sad to say that I learned that for me, it just wasn't possible to win. We lost. It is devastating. It is heartbreaking. It is so discouraging to have to say we lost, but we did. We lost. Not only did we lose the case because the appeals panel agreed with the lower court in saying that nobody would look at the evidence and see any similarities. They also agreed that my expert report wasn't necessary because there weren't enough similarities. They also agreed that the fact that I left my materials with the CEO of Lionsgate, that didn't matter because there were no similarities. And it was a hard pill to swallow because I see similarities when I look at it. Even if all 57 are not spot on, which I believe they are, I felt like I had enough similarities to at least have the opportunity to go to trial. And in the process of pursuing a jury trial for copyright infringement, I learned some of the biggest and most important lessons of my life. I learned that if you can't present your evidence, meaning if the rules are that you need an expert report and you pay for your expert report, which they're not cheap, tens of thousands of dollars, $50,000. That expert report can always be, stricken from the record. You can pay for discovery, meaning depositions and, asking questions of the defendants and getting answers that you think help your case go forward and prove some of the things that you're saying. But if the deposition is redacted and you're told that the deposition can't be used or seen, you can't use the stuff you learn in discovery either. So you can't use your expert's report. You can't use what you learn in discovery, and you can't rely on 57 side-by-side comparisons. So, in a nutshell, you have to figure out how to argue your case with no evidence being considered. And that's very hard. It's super difficult. It's impossible. And that is why I say that if I had to do this all over again, with the laws being what they are today, I would never do it, and I would never encourage anyone to do it. The judge said when he awarded the legal fees to the defendants that, and I'm paraphrasing, but basically this should discourage plaintiffs from bringing frivolous claims against defendants. And I was just so confused by it because I really believed that due process was something that I and any other creative who created something valuable was entitled to. And that's just not how it works. This is not really about me re-arguing my case, because I can't re-argue my case, right? The decisions have been made, and as much as I hate it, as much as I disagree with it, I have to accept it. I have to accept it. I have to figure out a way to make it make sense in my life and in my world so that I can continue to go forward believing that justice does apply to everybody. But it's hard. It's hard because I know I deserve the opportunity to go to trial. I had no idea that I could be in debt for like a ridiculous amount of money, millions of dollars, and have never seen a jury or a trial. But that's how the system is set up today. And I think the system is set up like that today because a lot of times when these copyright infringement cases come along, they settle before there's an opportunity for it to really make enough noise to actually deter people from infringing on the rights of creatives. Because the corporations almost always win. And I knew that going into it, but I just really felt good about my case. I really felt good about at least the opportunity to have my case argued, and that didn't happen. So where are we now? I cried a lot. I had to pick myself up off the floor a few times. I still find myself standing in my house thinking, wow, you risked everything. When I think about my grandson and my granddaughters, opportunities for generational wealth and wellness, it just totally like I can't even talk about it right now. Because I made the decision to risk their future to improve their future. And we blew it. Oh, God. Okay. Let me get through this. We blew it. We lost it. I don't think it was fair. I don't see it as justice being served. But that does not matter until we actually have an opportunity to take it to the higher court. which is what we plan to do. It is crazy. It is literally like looking for a needle in a fucking haystack. But you know what they say about me. I'm crazy enough to believe that I can find a needle in a haystack. We have got to get a clear understanding of exactly what plaintiffs can argue, exactly what evidence that plaintiffs can present, and exactly how or if plaintiffs stand a chance against well-funded corporate defendants. We have got to figure that out. We have to figure it out because it will save so many people the grief of having to explain to their grandchildren and their children's children and their grandchildren's children why they leveraged their futures trying to fight for something better and greater. So with that terrible loss came what I think is the lesson that God wanted me to learn in this process. Number one, you cannot get to the appeals court unless you lose in the district court. Number two, you cannot get to an en banc panel without losing with a panel of three. And number four, or three, whatever it is, you cannot get to the Supreme Court unless you lose at the en banc panel. So as difficult as it has been for me to lose, I do understand clearly that in order for me to really be a part of making meaningful change, even though it is the equivalent of looking for a needle in a haystack, you have got to get to the highest court in the land. That's simple. I am going to pursue this as far as God and the law will allow me to pursue it. And when I am done pursuing it, I am pursuing a degree in law. I know. What the fuck is she talking about? I mean, I don't know that I'm going to pass the bar, but if Kim Kardashian can do it, guess what? I have been in case after case after case. So God is obviously trying to tell me something. And besides, I'm really tired of seeing creatives lose because we don't have the education and the skill and the knowledge of contracts and agreements and, quite honestly, the wherewithal to work to change laws. I'm 54. I'll be 55. I'll still be under 60 by the time I graduate from law school. I'm not talking about being some Johnny Cochran. I'm thinking more Aaron Brockovich, paralegal-ish. But yeah, it's time for something different. And I am going to hopefully make up for leveraging my grandchildren's future, believing that due process applied to me by taking the steps that I need to take to make sure that their future is protected as best I can. And that is in pursuing more education in law. So pray for me. Please continue to pray for my family. I'm going to take a step back from social media. I'm going to take a step back from a lot of the things I did in the past, because I've realized that it's just not moving the needle the way I needed to. And in order to really make a difference, I'm going to have to go a little deeper. So I really love and appreciate y'all who love and appreciate me. I'm so grateful for each and every one of you who has supported me and my family in this process. We are devastated that we lost, but we also know that you have to lose in order to win. Period. I mean, like, you literally have to lose at the lower courts for even the possibility of getting to the higher courts. And I hope that this brings about positive change for creatives, but also I hope that this inspires people who have the power to make determinations about the future of people who are already disenfranchised. I hope that it makes them really think about just how damaging it is to not just the individual that's in the courtroom, but their entire family for generations and generations and generations. I'm a fighter. I'm not giving up. I'm not quitting. And I hope that maybe that's why God brought me to my knees, to make me pay attention to what I really need to be focusing on. So, yeah.